Of Harlem Film Screening and Discussion. This event is presented by the Department of African American and African Studies and co-sponsored by the Federated Department of History, the Joseph C. Cornwall Center for Metropolitan Studies, and the Clement A. Price Institute on Ethnicity, Culture, and the Modern Experience. As you'll soon see, the Changing Face of Harlem documentary is one that examines the revitalization of Harlem told through the deeply personal stories of its residents, small business owners, politicians, developers, and clergy. It takes a critical look at Harlem's history, early development, and its present transformation. The film highlights how a community deals with the challenge of maintaining identity while accepting change. This film was chosen as an official selection for several film festivals, including the San Diego Black Film Festival, the San Francisco Black Film Festival, Big Muddy Film Festival, Real Sisters Festival, as well as annual academic conferences. The film is also screened at the Meisel Cinema, Anthology Archives, and the CUNY Gotham Center. We have the director, Shawn Batey, here with us tonight. An award-winning filmmaker, Shawn has over 15 years of experience as a producer, filmmaker, and writer of documentary films. Third World Newsreel distributes two of her films, Heritage, a cultural documentary on dreadlocks, and Through My Eyes, an interpretation of September 11th from the perspective of Latino and African American youth. Her additional credits include 60 Plus, a musical documentary of an all-female senior citizen band, Making the World Feel Better, the PS 230 Mural Project, and 3 Fever, a quirky look at Christmas tree sellers in Upper Manhattan. Her works have been utilized within schools nationwide and have screened in numerous film festivals. Shawn was chosen to participate in the 2006 Working Films Residency at Mass MoCA and 2007 Harlem Open Artist Studio Tour, where she incorporated elements of her current work into a multimedia installation. She's been invited to serve on several panels citywide to speak on the topic of this film, Changing Face of Harlem, including CUNY City's College Symposium on Gentrification, Columbia University, Paul Robeson Conference, and CUNY Hunter College Harlem Gentrification Panel. After the film, she will answer questions and facilitate a discussion about her work. But for now, a few housekeeping items. One, please silence all of your cell phones. And the other is an important one. We're recording this presentation, and it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel and also to websites for use later for those that could not be with us today and for researchers. Your participation tonight in the Q&A and the question, answer, and discussion sessions constitutes your consent to be recorded. And without further ado, we invite Shawn Batey. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good evening. My name is Shawn Batey. I want to thank the Department of African American Studies here at Rutgers. I've been in correspondence with Christina for many, many months. I feel like I've known her a long time. So we haven't met face to face until tonight. Whoops, I just hit a button. Let me just do this real quick. There we go. Let me make that bigger. I want to just talk a little briefly about the film, just to give you a little insight before you watch it. It's an hour long. I started the piece in the year 2000, and I finished the piece in the year 2013. So this is a 13-year journey you're going to watch. So for those of you who have ideas and projects that you feel you can't get off the ground, I'm here to say you can get it done. It may take you longer than you think, but some things are worth waiting for. I'll just give you a little preface about the piece. I started filming with the opening of the Magic Johnson Theater in the year 2000. I'll take you back in that time period. In year 2000, Bill Clinton had made an announcement that he was going to set up an office in Harlem, which kind of put Harlem back on the map in a completely different realm. I was reading a lot of newspaper articles, a lot of coverage, but it was taking a point of view from Harlem, from the outsiders looking in, and what I wasn't reading was Harlemites, people have been living there forever, people have grown up there, residents, small business owners. I wasn't hearing their perspectives. I wasn't hearing them talk about what they were feeling, telling to the outside world. So I felt it was really important at that time to capture what was going on, what was the fear, what was the concern, what was it that residents felt they needed, what were they feeling, what was the angst in the air at that time. I thought it was a piece that was going to take about 5 years. A lot of things happened. We had 9/11. We had a new president. We had a recession. We had a real estate bust. So there was a lot of things going on that kind of took shape in the film, and I felt like I needed to capture, which encapsulated the time length. I'm particularly interested in cultural evolutions of neighborhoods. I used to live in Chicago. I should back up and say I'm originally from St. Louis. I'm not a Harlem native. I've lived in Harlem for the past 18 years, but I'm originally from St. Louis. I've lived in many, many places. But when I lived in Chicago, I lived in a working class, blue collar, Puerto Rican, Polish neighborhood. And that neighborhood at that particular time in the late 90s was changing, and I wanted to do a piece then, and ended up moving to New York, subsequently moved to Harlem, and my same ideas about transitions of neighborhoods and how they sustain their cultural identities came into place. Hence my film, Changing Face of Harlem. I think it's really important that we as citizens, sometimes you can't wait on others to tell your stories. Sometimes you have a unique perspective living there than other people who may have access in a different way monetarily, but you yourself as a resident have access to stories which are very enriching that I think people take for granted. Our neighbors, our supers, our church, our clergy, our elders, those stories are priceless. Those are our history. Those are our oral stories we pass on. That's what you're going to learn today. That's what you will learn. That's real. That's not fake. This is testament. I feel it's important to capture dialogue, and it may not be as relevant now, but you think 50 years from now, that's a real testament of history. It's a real testament of people that live there. The piece is an hour long. I wanted to just do a little brief exercise. It's not going to be graded on it. But if everyone has a piece of paper and a pen, or a pencil, if you could take that out. Does everybody have a piece of paper? Or a pen out? Okay. So for those of you, what I'm going to propose for you all to write down is, I'm not sure if all of you know Harlem. I don't know if you've been there. Have you visited there? What have you heard? What have you heard? What have you learned? Did you grow up there? I just want you to take a moment to write down on a piece of paper your thoughts about Harlem. It could be what you read in the newspaper. It could be what you've heard, your visits there, what you've read in the books, what you've read in newspapers, what you've heard on the radio. But just your thoughts about Harlem when someone says, "What do you think about Harlem?" So we'll take about 2 or 3 minutes to write this down. Everyone has a piece of paper and pen? Okay.